Hello and welcome to Nationwide. I am Ifoma Odintang. And we begin Nationwide today from the Supreme Court this Wednesday as the Apex Court upheld the election of 4 governors. Let's join Dele Atumbi of our Judiciary Desk live from the Apex Court in Abuja. Now, hello Dele. What's transpired at the court today and what was the decision, on the affected 4 states at the Supreme Court today?
Thank you, Former. Today, the Supreme Court decided the appeals of Abia State, Delta State, Niger State, and Taraba State. And in the Abia State, the Supreme Court upheld the election of the governor of the state, Okeazu Ikpeazu, and in Delta, the Supreme Court dismisses the appeal of Great Ogboru against the election of Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. And for Niger State, the Supreme Court led the 7-man panel led by Justice Bode Rhodes Vivor. They dismissed the appeal against the election of Governor Sani Bello of APC. One thing that was striking was that of the Taraba State, which the Supreme Court decided that it was sheer waste of time of the court, because the APC, as at the time of the election, had no candidates. And the court decided that such a matter wouldn't have been brought before it. But I have one of the counsel in the matter of the Delta State here that would equally, after the deliberation, will equally tell us more about what really transpired. I have with me something. You are welcome.
Thank you.
Taking a look at what transpired today at the Supreme Court, what do you think that the court has done that will continue to be a memorable, indelible thing in the judicial system?
Yeah, well, I was a counsel in the Delta State matter, and what the Supreme Court has done today is merely to affirm the concurrent decisions of the tribunal and the Court of Appeal. The petitioners had gone to the tribunal to challenge the election of Governor Ato Okowa as the governor of Delta States. They lost at the tribunal. They were dissatisfied. They went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal affirmed the decision of the tribunal. And this was because the petitioners did not prove their case. They had alleged overvoting. However, they only called 5 witnesses from polling units. And the Supreme Court has reiterated in several cases that for you to prove non-compliance with the provisions of the Electoral Act, you must call witnesses from the polling units, witnesses who saw what happened at the polling units. But they did not do this. And the documents which the petitioners were relying on to prove the overvoting was a card reader report. And the Supreme Court found that it has to be voters' register.
Thank you. The truth of the matter is that one of the things that the Supreme Court decided was that at this point, when there is a concurrence in the judgment of the trial court and that of the appellate court, the Supreme Court would not tamper with the judgment of the 2 courts.
Okay, Dele, worthy of note is Taraba State, which you just mentioned. Can you give us more insights on that judgment?
The issue of Taraba State has to do with the fact that the appellant had no candidate as at the time of conducting the election on 9th of March 2019. And the appellant now came to court that the election should be nullified. Where you do not have a candidate, the Supreme Court decided that you cannot call for cancellation of election, because one of the things that is in law is that you must first of all participate in an election for you to have the ground to ask for the cancellation of that election. And don't equally forget, even in Abia matter, the Supreme Court decided that you are calling for cancellation of election in 15 local governments. And it has to do with over 700 units. You've not been able to prove your case. So the court equally decided that since the tribunal, the judgment of the tribunal agreed with that of the judgment of the appeal courts, that it has no basis for us to just send the governor packing, but that the decision of the court, of the appeal court, was important to it, and that it upheld the election of the governor of Abia State. So all the appeals, all the 4 appeals brought before the court were nullified and dismissed today.
Okay. I just want clarity there, Dele. Are there more appeals at the Supreme Court?
Well, there are more appeals. For instance, in the last sitting of the court before today, the court decided over 7 matters, which has to do with governorship matters. And there are still other appeals, especially pre-election matters. Today, the Sokoto, one of the National Assembly elections in Sokoto State was brought before the Supreme Court. And at the end of the day, the court decided that this pre-election matter will have been decided before now.
Okay, thank you very much, Dele. That will be all for now. Though we will continue to, come to you for more updates if need be. Now, moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari has restated his unshakable resolve towards engendering a free, fair and credible electoral process in the country. To this end, he charged the Independent National Electoral Commission and the Nigeria Police to be firm and fair, as well as provide a level playing and secure environment for all in the discharge of their responsibilities. This was at a strategic meeting with the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu. State House correspondent Namo Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari has never hidden his desire and commitment to bequeath to Nigerians an electoral process that is free, fair and credible. This meeting with officials of the nation's electoral umpire and the #1 law enforcement officer could best be described as walking the talk. All litigations in respect of the last general elections have been finalized. As a result, 30 national and state assembly elections have been nullified. 2 of the elections have already been conducted, while January 25th has been fixed for the remaining 28 across 11 states of the Federation, and INEC says it is ready. President Muhammadu Buhari wants to see both the outstanding and other subsequent elections as great examples in terms of credibility.
We met with His Excellency Mr. President, who has reiterated his commitment to ensuring that the processes are free and fair and the environment secure for that to happen. We will, using the court order, rerun elections and also some by-elections as a result purely of the act of God, the death of some members of the National and State Assemblies, as well as the forthcoming Edo and Ondo governorship elections, really set the pace for the kind of election that Nigerians desire. And this is our commitment and the assurance that we have given the President.
The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, assured the President that the Nigeria Police will not shirk its responsibilities in the provision of a secured political environment.
There must be secured environment. And in securing the environment, the security strategy have to be reviewed and have to be enhanced so as to have an election that violence will not be tolerated, value snatching will not be tolerated. Those that usually participate in such actions, like the politicians, the security agencies, and INEC officials, this time around, they will not be allowed to do that. We shall make examples of anybody that wants to use violence to achieve his aim during the electoral process. And this is the beginning of the process to make sure that this country from now onward gets an election that will be exemplary to the rest of the world.
The strategic engagement held behind closed doors also had in attendance the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, and the Director General, Department of State Services, Yusuf Magaji Bichi. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Nasarawa State government resolved to beef up security going forward in crisis-prone areas of the state. Governor Abdullahi Sule says the decision is to sustain peaceful and harmonious coexistence with the plans for gradual withdrawal of military presence in the areas. Aliyu Tijani Mohammed reports.
In addition to heads of security agencies in the state, also in attendance are traditional rulers and other stakeholders. Governor Abdullahi Sule says government will sustain commitment to ensure that the state remain peaceful. The meeting commends security agencies for relative peace in the state.
The recent pronouncement by the federal government to withdraw certain special military operations and special security operations from across the states of the country, including Nasarawa State, was also discussed. And arrangements have been made to fill the vacuum to ensure that when these special operations are terminated and the security agencies are withdrawn, there will be no space left for persons who would want to take advantage to break the law and cause breach of the peace.
Stakeholders resolved to support security agencies through the community-based conflict resolution approach. Meanwhile, two committees on the implementation of new national minimum wage and boosting internal generated revenue have been inaugurated by Governor Abdullahi Sule, saying they should work to deliver on terms of reference. In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
The Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole says it has destroyed some facilities at an Islamic State of West Africa province ISWAP hideout at Kasuma on the fringes of the Lake Chad. In a statement by NAF Director, Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibikunle Daramola, the airstrike is in continuation of the sustained offensive against terrorist targets in the northeast of the country under the auspices of Operation Rattlesnake. The airstrike was conducted after a credible intelligence report indicated a cluster of compounds within the settlement was being used to house some ISWAP leaders along with their supplies. The ATF then detailed attack aircraft to engage the location, leading to the destruction of the designated structures, some of which were seen engulfed in flames. The NAV says it will sustain its air campaign in synergy with surface forces to shape the battle space in the northeast for the effective conduct of further ground and air operations. Still on security matters, security operatives in Enugu State has adjudged Enugu as one of the safest states in Nigeria with low cases of crimes and criminality. Mina Ukabasi reports.
Before now, Enugu State was rated safest in the country. There were seldom cases of kidnapping and high-profile robbery until it reared its ugly head. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi's effort to curtail the menace through the provision of operational vehicles for security agencies and other efforts are geared towards returning Enugu State back to its peaceful pride of place. 2019 has gone with its array of ugly security reports. What is the current security situation in Enugu State?
I'm happy to say the ones we're experiencing here in Enugu is not as high as maybe they are obtained in other states.
The Enugu State Police Command had made some concerted efforts to checkmate crime and criminality in the state.
Those mobility utility vehicles have reinforced the Inspector General of Police Operation Path Adder to achieve this feat.
State Commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Evaristo Sobiyo, however, advised criminals in the state to have a rethink and engage in meaningful ventures this year, as the Corps has put modalities in place to ensure no hiding place for criminals. Meanwhile, the Enugu State Police Command has paraded 3 of its officers caught brutalizing a civilian identified as Justice Obasi, an incident that took place at Kenyatta Street, Owani, Enugu. In Enugu, Mena Adobe Kovasi, NTA News.
The federal government's continuous fight against economic sabotage is receiving a boost as the Nigerian Navy intensifies its fight against smuggling within the nation's maritime domain. The recent is the arrest and handing over of seized foreign rice worth over 115 million naira to the Nigerian Customs Service in Calabar. Umo Basi edits has details.
Seized rice numbering over 2,008 bags were arrested alongside 6 suspects and 2 wooden boats allegedly transiting from Cameroon. Commander Nigerian Navy Ship Victory, Vincent Okeke, says the act is an attempt by smugglers to exploit the high demand for rice during the festive period for pecuniary reasons.
My men have been adequately keyed into the non-compromise attitude of the base. So nobody is ready to compromise with them. Any boat that is accosted must be brought to the base.
The custom authorities and task force team of Operation Swift Response, who received the contraband, lauded the Nigerian Navy and reiterated their resolve to partner the officers at all times.
The suspect will be taken to the legal office for prosecution and proper arrangement in court.
The Nigerian Navy says it will double up effort to curb illegal activities, thereby enhancing national prosperity and security. In Calabar, Umo Basidet, NTA News.
And away from security matters, apart from diverse health challenges associated with the harmattan, the hazy and cloudy weather also impacts negatively on the aviation industry. Justina Etim, who visited the Margaret Ekpo International Airport in Calabar, reports that the weather condition has led to the reduction of air-to-ground visibility, causing diversion of flights from Calabar to Uyo.
This is the runway of the Margaret Ekpo International Airport here in Calabar. The weather here is really foggy, and this has affected the visibility here, and it has led to the cancellation of most flights coming in or leaving the city. The standard visibility range for smooth takeoff and landing of flights is about 2,400 meters. But here, visibility has dropped to 1,000 meters. This has no doubt affected operations in the airport.
If you look at the carnival period, the weather was okay. But immediately after the Calabar Carnival, the weather changed. Passengers have been coming since Saturday because the weather climate changed from Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday. Every effort to make it possible for weather to improve was negative. The airline has also made an arrangement whereby they take the passengers to Uyo. First of all, they have to cancel the flight when they are sure that the visibility is actually negative.
Management of the Margaret Ekpo International Airport are appealing to passengers traveling out or coming into Calabar to take the cancellation of flights in good faith, as the development is meant to ensure safety of passengers.
Nobody's making that they should just take it in good faith. We're hoping that very soon there will be a rapid improvement.
The airport authority is hopeful that the weather will normalize soon for normal operations to resume. In Calabar.
And Emmanuel Anyimiro is live at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport for an update on the weather condition and flight situation. Now, hello, Emmanuel. How are you doing today?
Hello, studio. The weather in Abuja has been very pretty, and this had been in line with the forecast from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, which predicted that within the next 24 hours, the weather outlook in Nigeria will be pretty and will be very bright for all airlines to operate. As a matter of fact, most pilots that I've spoken to, one of them who just left for Kebbi, did say that not much of cancellations of flight have been recorded today because the approach minimum, which is 800 meters, is what is obtainable almost everywhere. And so Abuja Airport has continued to receive landing and witnessing takeoff of aircraft. As you can see, that aircraft which is about to take off is going to one of the northern part of the country, I think Sokoto precisely. This gives you an impression that all over the Federation, the weather has been a bit better than what it was yesterday. And this time yesterday, our flights were unable to take off to Sokoto. But you can see this is getting ready, and in the next few minutes, it will be off to Sokoto. This has been the situation across the country.
Expecting and improving the situation, or are we likely to go back to the haze?
More flights will be landing and taking off in most of our aircraft nationwide because the weather is pretty.
Okay, Emmanuel, can you tell us what the traffic situation is like, today? Okay, I think that's much we can take from Angimiro, from the airports now. Now, our first ports of call on Nationwide is Lagos, and Ruth is our guide. Hello, Ruth.
Hello, Ifoma. Thank you, and welcome to Lagos. Passengers and travelers at the Murtala Mohammed Airport are having a difficult time navigating their destination. This is as a result of the Harmattan haze, which is affecting flight operations. Michael Olale reports that travelers are also complaining of incurring additional cost for either having their flights delayed or diverted.
The Harmattan haze is here. It is natural, but has created a difficult time for flight operations across the country. At the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, travelers painstakingly endure waiting hours due to flight delay or diversion. Most of those traveling to Calabar, for instance, have more tasks ahead than they could imagine.
Actually going to Calabar now, but I have to go and drop in Uyo, then after spending almost 50,000 naira, then I'll now have to take another cab from the time and it's affecting timing in business.
Some passengers are however not baffled by this development, based on the simple belief that it is better to be late than never.
The flight was scheduled for 8 o'clock, but now it shifted to 11 o'clock. I'm sure for safety purposes, which is okay for everybody. Safety first.
The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority is loud and clear about the dangers inherent in flying under the Harmattan haze.
The public should realize that it's being suspended or put on hold in their interest. It's not in the interest of the airline to suspend its flight on account of weather. Every flight is suspended, it dislocates your schedule.
Although efforts to increase visibility and precision while landing informed the launch of Cat 3 by the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, but this development is a clear indication that operators must upgrade equipment in order to put an end to the era of delayed or cancelled flight caused by climatic conditions.
Till the operators upgrade their airplanes and upgrade their pilots training, and also fund to have a low visibility operation.
Key players in the sector want air passengers to exercise patience until the climatic condition improves. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
Key players in seafoods business have identified inadequate preservation and storage of seafoods in Nigeria as a major challenge inhibiting growth. They are advocating strict adherence to regulations to tap into the huge benefits in the sector. Amaka Owo has details.
Nigeria is said to have seafoods, especially fish, in abundance, but still imports other types of fish into the country. Data has it that about 18,000 tons of stockfish is imported per annum.
Nigeria is the biggest consumer or the biggest market for pelagic fish, mackerel and herring. It's very, very large.
Those in the value chain say preservation and storage is a major challenge, as this is why there are allegations that some traders use harmful substances in preserving fish.
There was a video that went viral where we saw people sprinkling dangerous chemicals on fish, various fishes in the Nigerian market.
There are certain laws that has to be attended to by the federal government to put things in the right perspective. Like our fish is banned from America for now.
The consumption of this rich source of protein in large quantity comes with its challenges, but more needs to be done.
Create awareness to especially importers. They should know that when they bring in their consignment like stockfish, they should ensure prompt clearance so that the product will not be lying in the seaport, thereby getting spoiled or growth of microbes.
With the huge potential in the seafood business, all those involved in the value chain need to ensure adequate storage and preservation. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
The Nigerian capital market in 2019 had on its premium board the listing of two major foreign portfolio investments of over 4 trillion naira, thereby boosting the market's capitalization to end the year in over 12 trillion naira. Abolade Salami in this report analyzes what shaped activities in the market in 2019.
Nigerian equities market with a capitalization of over 12 trillion naira in 2019 contributed less than 10% to the nation's gross domestic product. The underperformance of the market to the economy, experts attributed to the inability of stakeholders to explore the market as a source of accessing long-term funding. The youth environment in the local investment market recorded a high return on the fixed income segment, which further attracted local investors in the instrument rather than equities.
With the quantum of the GDP relative to the Nigerian capital market, total market capitalization, I think that dysfunction is there. If you look at a country like South Africa, the total market capitalization is about $1 trillion, whereas in Nigeria, both the equity and the debt is just a little, close to $100 billion.
The low performance of the market, experts said, was largely based on various economic activities that characterized the year, thereby resulting in profit-taking and huge sell-off of big-cap securities.
So we've seen, one, local investors have little access to credit. Two, even local portfolio investors like the pension fund administrators, we are shying away from the equities market because of consistent losses, and therefore we are patronizing more of the fixed income market. Is that the central bank has compelled local investors to not invest in OMO instruments, and therefore the local investors have no choice than to switch their investment now to equities. So I believe the imbalance between local investors and foreign investors in terms of investment in the equities market will correct to some extent in the new year.
They, however, expressed optimism on an improved performance owing largely to various policies that will stimulate more participation of investors. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Lagos. Nationwide continues after this break. Stay with us.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Thanks for staying tuned. Now, the issue of kidnapping in Adamawa State has continued to be a source of concern to the people of the state. Mohammed Saidu reports that hardly a day passes without a reported case of the ugly practice in one part of the state or the other.
Despite the effort of security agents, the ungodly practice of kidnap and demand for ransom has continued unabated in Adamawa State. Though the police severally arrested the perpetrators and charged them to court, the practice still persists. Worried by the situation, the residents of Gire, the worst affected area in the recent times, barricaded the major road linking the state capital with other parts of the northern zone of the state, accusing the police of releasing the perpetrators anytime they are arrested.
Even if they arrest the suspect, some of the suspects, within not long a time, they'll just release them.
We arrested some suspects, but unfortunately, when they were taken to the police station, they were released.
Reacting to the allegation, the Commissioner of Police, Adamawa State Command, Adamu Madaki, debunked the rumor, saying that the people were misled.
Yesterday evening, I instructed him to now transfer the suspect to State CID for continued investigation and then for the suspect to be charged to court. But to my greatest surprise, I learned Gire people misconstrue my order that they were being brought here to be released.
In Yola, Muhammad Saidu, NTA News.
Following public outcry over a proposed review of electricity tariff in the country, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission says it will engage electricity consumers before effecting the review in April. Joshua Ojito reports.
News of electricity tariff increase spread across the country days back, with many Nigerians questioning the rationale for increase. Key players in the power sector, in reaction, are of the opinion that Nigerians deserve an improvement in power supply before any planned increase.
Increase in tariff itself is not a silver bullet or the final solution. There are a lot of issues that needed to be addressed that are not being addressed.
That tariff increase, I repeat, must be tied to efficient performance. It must be tied to the right data being used to arrive at the right tariff. Because if we don't use the right data, then consumers may be paying more or even paying less.
However, Chairman Board of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, James Momo, maintains that electricity tariffs remains the same, nonetheless with a projection for a review by April 2020.
If at the end of our meeting back and forth, we said no increase, no increase. There is going to be increase, it will be based on our engagement at the public forum.
The provisions of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act of 2005 empowers the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to review electricity tariff twice a year to ensure efficient power delivery at the different stages of electricity distribution value chain. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Time now to join Abubakar in Maiduguri for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Abubakar.
Hello, Ifoma, and thanks for joining us here. The Borno State government has appealed to the federal government as well as the Nigerian military not to dislodge Jakana and minor community along Damaturu Maiduguri Road. The state governor, Professor Babagana Umara, made the appeal when he visited a minor community in the wake of alleged evacuation of people in the affected areas. Mohammed Goni reports.
Borno State government is worried by the alleged directives issued to the two communities of Mainok in Kagalakal government area, as well as Jakana in Kandagalakal government areas of Borno State to vacate their homes for IDP camps in Maiduguri, the state capital. The state government is of the view that displacing the two communities will lead to closure of the major highway linking the state capital to other parts of the country. This informed the decision of Governor Babagana Umara to visit the two communities to allay fears, assuring that government has been talking to the military hierarchy. Professor Babagana Umara said dislodging the two communities will create more humanitarian challenges associated with managing IDPs in the camp.
We want to commend the federal government in its effort to reduce Miran's insurgency in the state. But what we are looking now is to ensure that these communities are protected through provision of enough security personnel. But we are not in support of displacing the communities.
The governor further tasked the two communities to identify destructive elements among them, stressing that the state government is in the same page with the military and other security personnel in the quest to identify and rid the state of terrorists. He cautioned the communities of Mayanok and Jakana against actions capable of displacing them and further assured support to the civilian JTF, hunters and vigilante through provision of patrol vehicles and other logistics. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Maiduguri-Damboa-Biu Road has been officially reopened to motorists following high talk between Borno State government and the Nigerian military. Mohammed Goni reports that Governor Babagana Umara Zulum personally plied the road to signal it reopened for motorists and commuters.
Maiduguri-Damboa Road was closed to motorists in the last 10 months for security reasons, compelling motorists to pass through neighboring states to southern part of the state. The state government was concerned about the hardship citizens passed through as a result of the closure, as well as its negative impact on the economy of the affected communities.
I've had a series of consultations within the armed force hierarchy. We have had a series of discussions with the Minister of Defense, with the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, the police, the civilian JTA, with a view to reopening the Damboa-Biu Road.
Borno State government procured 16 HILOC vehicles, 10 for civilian JTA, hunters and vigilante, while 6 patrol vehicles were given to the military to man the highway. Meanwhile, Governor Babagana Umara has distributed food and non-food items to 26,000 beneficiaries in Damboa town, an exercise he personally supervised to ensure transparency and that the commodities get to the targeted beneficiaries. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Borno State government has applauded resilience of the people of the state in their determination to attain peaceful coexistence and the quest to achieve more dividends of democracy. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum stated this at the occasion of Bura Annual Cultural Festival held in Marama Town, Haul local government area of Borno State. Here is Memuna Garba with more details of the story.
The purpose of Bura Annual Cultural Festival is for members of the community to remember and celebrate their culture with a view to sustaining it, as well as to pass same to the future generations. Professor Babagana Umara had, while felicitating with the Marama community on the occasion, charged them to ensure peace, unity, and justice among the people.
Education is the bedrock for any meaningful and sustainable development. That has informed my decision to support the establishment of the Skill Acquisition Center by the Bura women folk.
Members of the Marama community, who were delighted with the presence of the governor in their midst, thanked him for identifying with them and appealed for construction of fence of Marama General Hospital and a mortuary, as well as rehabilitations of Marama Kidan Road, completion and dredging of community dam.
We appreciate His Excellency for successfully taking up and completing the Bura Women Skill Acquisition Center. We hope that the association will maintain the objectives and the ideals that were set at its initiation, that will aim at bringing together and uniting the Bura people.
Pocket of security challenges notwithstanding, the people of Borno are determined to maintain their cultural activities towards ensuring peaceful coexistence. In Maiduguri, Nimna Garba.
And that concludes Nationwide from Maiduguri. Let's now return to Ifoma in Abuja for more stories. Good afternoon to you.
Many thanks, Abubakar. Now, for the first time in Nigeria, conjoined twins who were joined in the chest and abdomen and successfully separated at the National Hospital Abuja have been brought before the public. Revealing that the procedure lasted for 12.5 hours, the health professionals promised to continue to do more to reduce medical tourism in the country. Aisha Uba Ali reports.
Baby Goodness and Mercy were born on August 13, 2018 and were referred to National Hospital from Kefi on the 19th of August 2018. For more than 16 months, Baby Goodness and Mercy were under intensive care and several diagnostic procedures to make detailed diagnosis to aid the plan of their surgery. As expected, the parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ede, were overwhelmed and their joy knew no bounds when the twins were finally separated on the 19th of November 2019, exactly 1 year and 4 months after they were brought to the hospital.
And the hospital, the National Hospital Management, may the Almighty God continue to increase them.
Conjoined twins is caused when an early embryo partially separates to form two individuals during pregnancy, but still physically connected, sometimes at the chest, pelvic, or abdomen, sharing one or more internal organs. With advances in surgery, the chances for survival for conjoined twins has increased with consideration of where the twins are joined, how many organs they share, and skill of the surgical team.
Was actually the size of two livers joined together. In terms of separating it, we had very advanced equipment that helped us to separate it very quickly without losing much blood.
But we did not count the cost until we are finished. We are still counting the cost.
The case of these twins, according to Minister of Health, was an opportunity for Nigerian medical experts, especially those at the National Hospital, to demonstrate their capability and expertise while investing in the lives of the children.
To encourage other hospitals to actually show more commitment to be able to bring their teams to work together to cooperate.
Just like the names of the twins, Goodness and Mercy, people see they have brought goodness to their parents, and it was double celebration for the elders, as the mother was given automatic employment and the whole process, which was worth almost 20 million naira, was done free of charge. In Abuja, Aisha Uba-Ali, NTA News.
With high number of fire incidents in the country, even in the first week of January 2020, Nigerians have been urged to imbibe basic fire safety tips to prevent incessant fire incidents in the country. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria said Nigerians need to be persuaded to think of insurance for their homes, cars and markets to help them recover in case of fire or any other disaster. Mujanatu Adam Said reports.
The year 2019 witnessed a lot of fire outbreaks in offices, marketplaces, and even in residential areas. These fire incidents have split into 2020, as the first week of January alone has recorded about 8 fire outbreaks across the country. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria describe human error as one of the reasons for fire incidents, which are more rampant in the Harmattan season.
The nonchalant attitude of people is not helping matters.
It may be as a result of not being able to control naked flames, as a result of electrical faults, as a result of maybe just exposing things that are prone to heat.
They describe some of the incidents as man-made due to lapses on the side of the people. They suggested that Nigerians should be more safety conscious, both at home, offices, and in marketplaces, with fire extinguishers within their reach. The use of materials that can withstand fire while building a structure of any type was also suggested, such as the use of combustible and non-combustible materials.
We should go around to ensure that we enforce these laws, and we ensure that the people who have allocated these marketplaces, market stores to, adhered to what was designed for originally.
The people don't have fire extinguisher. This simple thing, this simple equipment, fire comes up, you fight it. Because you can't fight it, you run away.
Despite the availability of firefighting equipment already acquired by the federal government and deployed, the guests say it is easier for firefighters to battle infernos with public support of the Federal Fire Service, particularly through timely report of fire incidents when it happens.
As soon as the Harmattan period is over, you see everything dies down. Nobody cares about the precautions to put in place, what to do to avert these situations.
Who should respond? The fire service will respond. Do they know the number of fire service? Of course, now we are working with NCC. We are going to have a 3-digit emergency number in the country.
The guest also suggested that people should always follow due process and ensure that laws are adhered to, particularly in building design, town planning, and create room for accessibility in case of fire outbreaks. In Abuja, Murujanatu Adam Said, NTA News.
It will no longer be business as usual for illegal oil bunkers in the Niger Delta in 2020, as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has resolved to come hard on them. Acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, gave the warning while speaking with journalists in Port Harcourt. Robinson Dera Taide has the details.
Ibrahim Magu, who is on a working visit to the Port Harcourt Zonal Office of the Commission, expressed concern over the activities of oil bunkers in the Niger Delta. Oil theft in the region is said to account for the loss of about 15% of Nigeria's crude oil production, amounting to about $1.7 billion monthly. EFCC will therefore strengthen its synergy with other agencies to end the colossal economic leakage.
We are trying to see how we can work together to contain the situation, to arrest the situation, and also contribute to the arrest of the situation.
The EFCC boss further revealed that vehicles seized at the 6th Division Nigerian Army Port Harcourt have been forfeited to the federal government and will be auctioned after due process.
We have not handed over anything to anybody yet. All the vehicles that were auctioned are still there. Because after the process, we will ask you to go and pay the amount agreed, the highest bidder. We will pay to a designated federal government account and come and show us. Then we will check with the Ministry of Finance whether that amount has entered. After the proper reconciliation, that is when we will start releasing the debt.
Magu commended the media for its roles in the fight against corruption in the country. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Terateide, NTA News.
We'll take our last break. Up ahead is sports. So stay with us. Welcome back. And now sports. For 2 decades now, no Nigerian has won CAF Men's Footballer of the Year award. Tamara Ebiwe in this special report seeks answers to why the trend persists.
Beating Asisat Oshoala's record equaling 4th Africa Women's Footballer of the Year award, alongside Perpetua Nkwocha, however, pondering over the missing link in the men's version. Recall that only 4 Nigerians have clinched the men's award in its history. These include the late Rashidi Yakini in 1993, Emmanuel Amunike in 1994, Victor Ikpeba in 1997, and Kanu Wankwo in 1996 and 1999. It is worrisome that the shoes left behind by these former football stars are yet to be filled or improved upon by the current ones.
Nigerian players should develop their individual skills, be more dedicated and professional to football.
You look at people like Isaac Success, someone that had a very nice performance during his under 17 days. Now he is a shadow of himself. It all boils down to discipline.
If they are here, you're coming out from Nigeria here, you better put your hair, go through the league in Nigeria, then move to a league in Europe that will give you an edge, and look for a club that will nurture you.
In the wake of the worrying trend, the Nigeria Football Federation, however, sees beyond the law as it pushes for a return of the glorious days of the nation's prowess on the continent and the globe.
Even if a country is doing very well at the youth age group, is doing well at the national team, if there are no individual players whose individual brilliance, you cannot have players listed.
It has been 21 years since Kanu Wankwo won it in 1999. The wait for a Nigerian to be crowned Africa's best is long overdue. However, General Secretary, Nigeria Football Federation, Mohammed Sanusi, says the future is bright with young players like Samuel Chukwueze and Victor Osimhen, just to mention a few. In Abuja, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
Let's now take a quick check at the weather prospects for tomorrow. And that concludes Nationwide for today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Ifoma Ojinta.